back in the greenhouse today. So, where are we? It's the 22nd of January, and today I'm wondering what on earth to do with all of these potatoes. So, I was in the range last week to buy some drain unblocker. Very exciting trip. And they had seed potatoes in stock. 3 bags for £5, bargain. What can you do? So I got 6 bags. That's 6 lots of 7, 42 seed potatoes. And as somebody who hasn't really grown potatoes on any kind of scale before, I haven't got a clue. But I think I'm going to put them in pots. I've got those big 30-litre buckets. I've got a lot of them. What I don't have is compost for 42. Well, not 42 buckets. I'll probably put 2 seed potatoes in each bucket. So 21 buckets of potatoes. I definitely do not have enough compost for that. So I'm having a think, what other materials have I got that I can use to help fill up these buckets? Let's have a look. So one thing I've got a decent amount of is leaves. Now these are last autumn's leaves, so they're not particularly broken down, but probably okay added in small quantities. Won't provide a lot of nutrients for the potatoes, but will help give them a bit of cover, perhaps. Over here we've got our compost bay. Now obviously that stuff on top is pretty fresh, not broken down. But down the bottom is compost that's been going for about a year. So if I dig down, I might find something usable in there. And next to it, we've got our chicken poop bay. Which is still a little bit warm. Now obviously I'm adding the fresh poop to the top of this pile. But again, underneath, down the bottom, is the stuff that came from the deep litter system we had at home. So that's got some age to it, and probably won't burn the potatoes, I hope. Continuing on down the plot, excuse the mess, I have not tidied. Now this, I think, could be fairly useful. So this is my pretty much failed attempt at straw bale gardening last year, but as you can see from, well, especially from this one, it's breaking down pretty well. So I might add some of that in as well. And then last but not least, I do have some wood chip. Now I've heard that wood chip that is not rotted down is not great for putting on your plants because it will rob nitrogen from the soil, apparently. But I do have a lot of this. So yeah, I'll do some more research on that and see if there'll be any benefit to adding that to the mix. One other thing I do have available is last year's hugelkultur bed. Now, it's really not looking its best at the moment. I think the foxes have been playing over here. They've spread the dirt pretty wide. I was hoping to get a second year of use out of this, but as it is, it needs some fairly substantial restructuring. But what I might do instead is steal that material and grow potatoes instead. We shall see. One material I almost forgot about, last year's pots. But yes, have been neglected. I've not emptied all of them. I did make a start, but Then I stopped, you know, Christmas, flooding, all of that got in the way. So there is, you know, a decent amount of material in these pots. Could possibly use some of it over here as well. This one was actually full of weeds. Gave it to the chickens and they've eaten all of the green stuff. So another pot there. And just outside the front gate, there's that wood chip I mentioned. Just a little pile. Just a little pile. So as I mentioned earlier, I am pretty much a novice at growing potatoes. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm reading the back of the seed packs and going from there. Now I do know that I've got some first earlies, some second earlies and some main crop. The main crop are King Edward and Desiree. Now I'm putting those to one side because I know that I don't need to plant those until a little bit later in the year. So I can go down there for now. And here I've got some Swift. Now this is actually a variety that I grew last year. But, you know, Slugmageddon came and we didn't get a great harvest. But I'm going to try again. So I know that these are, well, in fact, a very early, first early. So I'm going to get these ones planted up today. And I've also got Red Duke of York, which are a first early. So see what we can do with those today as well. And then I've got Charlotte, which is, I believe, a first early. Yes, it says plant from January. Well, it just says salad there, which is not very helpful. And last but not least, Kestrel, which I must confess I only picked up because the potatoes look lovely with those little purple splotches on them. So I hope they're a good one. And those are my second earlies, so I would expect those a little later in the year than the first earlies, so I may leave them cheating in the greenhouse for a bit longer. So that's my varieties. As I say, I've got 6 different varieties because I don't like to decide, and also, well, I've not done any of these before, so I don't know what we're going to like. I don't know what we're going to enjoy most. So yeah, another experiment. Find out what the family enjoys, what we like to eat. So, and then next year, perhaps not grow 6 different varieties. We'll see. There we go. 13. No. Try counting. 11 tubs, which should be more than enough for today's purposes. There are more at home, more dotted around the plot that are still filled with other things. But I think this will do to get started on. Right, so I know I've still got issues when I film this way. I do need to go get my phone screen replaced. There is a crack running directly through the camera, which is not particularly helpful. So, oh, here we go. I've managed to reclaim 1 wheelbarrow full of material from various pots that I've emptied. So I'm going to go and mix a little bit of the chicken manure compost into this. Possibly a little bit of the homemade compost as well if I can find any good stuff down the bottom. Let's have a look. Back in the greenhouse again. So I've just been doing some Googling, and according to everything, all of the information out there, I shouldn't be planting my first earlies until mid-March at the earliest. So why the seed packets say from January, I really don't know. But there we go. Let's see, it says plant January to May-ish. So I'm going to ignore this. I'm going to actually go with the internet on this one, and I'm going to continue to leave my potatoes to chit a bit longer. I might not make it till mid-March, we'll see. I might get too impatient and try and start before then. But on the plus side, I've got my tubs ready. They're all laid out, ready to go. And so I don't need to worry about that when it does come to planting time. So I'm going to take these back home again, leave them in the warm and let them do their thing a little bit longer. So I'll be back here mid-March, possibly end of February, to plant them out. February sounds good, it'll be half term. Yeah, might do that.